Hi guys, my name is Mare and I am a massage therapist in Jacksonville, Florida. I've been in practice since 2005. I am trained in neuromuscular therapy and myofascial release. So because of the current events right now, I'm obviously unable to practice hands-on with people. So in order to keep my clients feeling good and healthy and just sort of being able to be active, because one benefit to this situation is that we have more time to maybe do the yard work that we haven't been able to do, or I've noticed a lot of people are walking their dogs more often, which is great. If you are in an area where you can be outside, that's amazing. And but what do you do when your body starts to hurt and you can't get to somebody for a massage? That's where I come in. So I've been setting up Zoom classes with my clients, and it's been a lot of fun. So pretty grateful for technology right now. Okay, so we can't go anywhere. We can't go buy supplies to do myofascial release. What is myofascial release anyway? And all of the above. So I'm going to go over all of that. First of all, myofascial release is, everybody fascia is a hot topic right now in this industry. So fascia or fascia, however you want to say it, potato. I say fascia. So the best explanation of what fascia is, if you don't know, is that it is just the connective tissue around your muscles. So when that connective tissue is tight, imbalanced due to repetitive motion, maybe like we do something more on one side of our body, so that fascia on that side of the body is going to bind up to help bolster the body. Our body is just constantly trying to protect us. So which is great, and we're really grateful for that. But sometimes we as humans are like, no, I need this to function. So the best way to do that is to balance everything. This is not typically a one area fixes the entire body kind of situation. I do recommend doing some sort of myofascial release every day if you can. Time is on our hands right now, so it's a great time to get into this habit. So the connective tissue, how do we release it? We can release it by going to see a massage therapist that can warm the tissue up and then kind of go in with a compression or trigger point therapy. So we are going to simulate some trigger point therapy here today with some common things you may have laying around your house. Okay, so first things, this one is like everybody has one of these, and a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I have a foam roller. I've never used it because I don't know how to use it. And then when they do tell me how they use it, they're telling me that they're just basically rolling up and down on the foam roller, which is not terrible, it's just not as effective. So I'm going to show you the proper way to foam roll if this is what you have at your house. This is a shorty. They come longer, they come softer. This one's pretty dense. I have a soft roller too, which is great if you are frail, if you're sensitive, if you have anything wrong kind of in the rib area, because rib heads can kind of get out of whack a little bit if we are rolling on a foam roller that's too dense for them, which I can get into at some point. So I think I'm going to make a few of these videos, but this one for today, I think we're going to do low back stuff, so we won't get into that. But anyway, so foam roller, for future reference, if you don't have a foam roller, discount stores have them like crazy. Five Below, I think, has them for $5, Marshall's for $10. We don't have the luxury of going places right now, so if you don't have a foam roller, I have other options for you. So the next option is going to be a fully inflated basketball, or if you are sensitive, a slightly deflated basketball. It also applies for soccer and volleyballs. I don't play sports, so I actually had to go out and buy this one specifically for myofascial release, or as I will refer to it, MFR. So basketball's great. I really love using a basketball with this work. If you don't have that, maybe you have a softball. Softballs are great. Softballs are amazing for releasing your hamstrings, your glutes, calf muscles respond really well to a softball. And I actually have a softball in my bed because every night before bed, I kind of stick this between my shoulder blades, and that area that just is like, oh, that feels so good to release. The reason I use a softball in bed for that is because the height of the softball and the density of the softball is perfect for a mattress because it's going to absorb some of that height and some of that density. If you have ever tried to use a tennis ball while you're laying in bed to release your shoulder, it just basically disappears. It's like, is it even there? Plus, if you have dogs, they always try to take the tennis ball, which can be very distracting. Okay, so if you don't have that, maybe you have a lacrosse ball, which is one of my favorites. This is not technically a lacrosse ball. This is a marketed massage ball, which I'm assuming is about the same as a lacrosse ball. Dense, bouncy, not that that matters. It's kind of heavy. It has some weight to it. This will not collapse when you lay on it. So that's really just what we're looking for, is something that will not collapse when you lay on it or put weight on it. And also nothing with like any points or hard edges, because those are going to dig into your tissue. So I think you kind of get the idea here. If you have none of those things, but maybe you're married to a plumber, I don't know, maybe you have some PVC pipe laying around. PVC pipe is awesome for MFR. It is all of the things that we need. It is dense, it comes in many sizes, it is round and smooth, etc., and it is the absolute cheapest thing that you could possibly get for this. So if funds are limited, once you're able to go out again, I highly recommend getting a couple different sizes of PVC pipe. This one is 2 inches. There's also, like, it was like $3 or $4. And then there's a 1.5 inch, which is really great for releasing hamstrings. And then there's a 3 inch, which is great for quads. If you are really looking for some depth, this is going to be awesome. So again, not encouraging anybody to go out into the world right now, but maybe you know a plumber that can leave it on your doorstep, and then you can sanitize it. Okay, so you get the idea. There are still other things we can use. I often perform myofascial release on myself with the corner of a countertop. So just get inventive. We're not going to hurt ourselves though. So that leads me to my disclaimer. I'm not a doctor. I'm a massage therapist. I cannot, advise you to do these things. If you have any questions about your health with them, please consult your physician. But general questions, I'm happy to answer. So you can email me, which we will put in the description of this video. And also, I'm on Facebook. My username is Mererae, Mererae. I'm also a singer-songwriter and a musician. Artist. On top of all of these other things. So my Instagram page is not just professional for myofascial release, but you'll see all of those other things, but certainly you can get a hold of me there. So today, I think that one of the most common issues people have is low back. We're doing a lot more sitting probably than we're used to. Low backs are difficult too, because sometimes we think, oh, if I do a forward fold and stretch out my hamstrings, it's going to help my low back, but that's not always the case. I'm a big fan of relieving the trigger points in order to be able to stretch the fascia and the all of the tissue and get everything kind of structurally positioned better. So the pelvis is the center of our universe here. And when the pelvis is off, everything's off, including our head and neck, and which can lead to, you know, headaches, chronic problems with your neck, and all sorts of really fun things. So we're going to start with the quadriceps. I'm going to show you guys how to release the quadriceps. Hamstrings get a lot of the, you know, the credit for people having low back pain. Oh, my hamstrings are so tight. My hamstrings are, you know, the problem. And they're not always the problem. The most overlooked thing, I think, are the quads. So quads and then TFL, which is a little muscle that kind of meets the glute and the quad here around the pelvis. So we're going to focus on this muscle here. Be very mindful of bones in these situations. So we've got some bony prominences here, the ASIS, which is where a lot of muscles attach. And then, you know, like the greater trochanter here of the hip, you're going to know you're on them because it's going to feel like you're laying on a bruise and it's just not going to be comfortable. The pain that we're looking for is deep, dull, slow, kind of leaking, referring. Hurts so good is another way to describe that pain. Nothing zingy, nothing sharp or burning. Sometimes it'll burn a little at very first. I think that's okay to explore that and just sort of like feel it out. And if it keeps burning, then you want to get out of there. You guys have to use your own common sense here because I'm not here to hear any feedback or give any feedback. So I'm just going to remind everybody to be mindful of that stuff. Breath work is really important. Breath tells the body that we're safe. So if you are holding your breath during this technique, then you're not really oxygenating anything. You're not triggering, you know, you're triggering a response that tells the body that it needs to defend. So we want to avoid that by taking nice, deep, slow, deep breathing. None of our movement is going to be fast. Everything is going to be very slow, and that's all for my disclaimers. Okay, so quadriceps first. Quads are this muscle right here. They attach about here and about here, and I'll save you guys all of the proper attachment namey things. So we're gonna go dead center of quads. Okay, so not slightly to the side, in either direction, right on top of that mountain peak, okay? And I like to start right in the middle because I feel like that gives you a really good idea of kind of where the entire quad is at. So I always start off with a little roll just to assess everything. Look how slow I'm going. It's like you would think I switched to slow-mo, but I didn't. So we're just gonna do a really slow assessment here. Okay, and notice I'm not sagging, I'm not dropped down into my shoulders. I'll try to move the camera angle a little more. Okay, so you can see my hands. I'm very supported though, okay? So we're just rolling. We're looking for some pain. Ooh, I found a good spot. So I'm gonna take a nice deep breath. And then I always go a little side to side. I go medial on the inside of that leg, and I go a little lateral just to see. Probably lateral is a little more painful. And in this case, we are chasing the pain around. We wanna find the pain, and we're just like honing in on it, and we're being like, no. We're gonna blast you out of there, right? Bending the knee oftentimes helps. Also, a very slow windshield wiper motion is pretty awesome too. And that's just to get started. And now we found a good spot. So we're just gonna kind of hang out here. And this supporting leg can either be on the knee. Obviously this needs to be comfortable for you. Another position, if you need to go deeper, is to kind of frog that leg out, and then you can also, oops, I'm starting to roll and slip. You can also drop down kind of more onto the floor. So you just do what works for you. Everybody's going to be at a different level with all of this stuff. So I recommend staying in each of these spots for about 2 minutes. I did not start a timer on this one, but I'm gonna roughly estimate it. And we're just breathing. And if you need more time when I move on to a different area, go ahead and take it. Pause this video and just, you know, if when you were doing that assessment, you found 2 or 3 spots, which is very likely, pause the video and do 2 minutes on each of those little sections of that leg. So I do roll a little, as you can see. But again, the rolling is just more of an assessment. And then also, guys, bonus points if you feel any twitching, any big, like, not necessarily thumps of the muscle moving away out of the direction or out of the way of the ball, but those little, that's the muscle releasing itself, which is really awesome. Okay, so low back pain often hides right up in here, that TFL that I was telling you guys about, which is a little bit lateral. So I'm gonna lean out this way, and I even have my knee bent slightly, and that leg is, I'm gonna show you guys that, like it's kind of lateral. That's a little more advanced there, okay? So this arm here is propping me up, and then just spend another 2 minutes here on that sort of side at the very top and the attachment there. The first time I ever did this for myself, I felt it go right into my lower back. When those quads get overused, they get stronger than the rest of the leg, and they really pull on your pelvis. So strong is good, but it's got to be balanced. Okay. We're not going to do this now, but another, if you want to pause, you can also do the inner thigh here, which is, this ball is really high for that, but it does feel really good. Kind of stay in that lower part if you're going to do that, the side of the knee. So if you have some knee pain, obviously if you have like major instability with your knee, then you need to consult somebody before you do this, a physician, but just general kind of achiness that goes into your knee is great here. Now, with that, you need to avoid this area. It's an area with a lot of lymph and a lot of just really important things. So don't go shoving any sort of like hard softball or something into that area. Okay, we're gonna switch legs. So again, here, we're just gonna go onto there. I'm gonna keep an eye on the time at this point. Okay, so I'm right in the center, and I am bent at my knee because I can use a little more depth there. And I'm rolling very subtly, and I'm breathing, and I'm supported in the core, and I'm not sagging down into my shoulders. If any of this causes pain in the rotator cuff or anything like that, then you gotta maybe realign so that you're not putting that stress there. Okay, found a good spot. So I'm just gonna hang out here for about 2 minutes with some breath. You'll notice too that it will release, so it'll get less painful. And guys, totally normal if this is like, oh my God, it feels like it wants to take your breath away. Totally normal, as long as, again, it doesn't feel bruised, it doesn't feel zingy or hot, pokery. It should feel like a nice deep muscle ache, like when you get a really good massage. So if you notice that it's sort of, you get a little, like, it's like the pain isn't quite as intense after you've been on it for a minute or two. You can either go in deeper, again, with one of these moves, or windshield wiper, or you can move on to a different spot. Very slowly roll off of that spot and find another one and hang out there for 2 minutes. Okay, and now we're gonna move on up to that other spot that contributes to the low back pain that I was telling you about, the TFL. I have my leg completely out that way. I like to say windshield wiper. This is a really tight spot for me. This was a game changer when I learned how to do this for myself. I get a lot of popping in my hips in that area because that tendon right there gets really tight over the bony prominence. So again, my foot is all the way out here, and you can even lean this way, which really intensifies it. So we're not completely on the IT band. We are between the IT band and that outer part, the lateral part of your quadricep. And it's really good stuff in there. Okay, we're gonna move on. And just a reminder, if you did the right side, that inner thigh area, this is the time where you can pause the video and you can go into this side. This is so challenging with this tiny screen showing you guys. I'm filming it with my phone. So if you did not do that, then don't worry about doing that now. Okay. Okay, so next area that we're going to treat is going to be the glute area. Everybody knows about the glutes, the piriformis. If you do a lot of yoga, then you're very familiar with piriformis from runner's stretch. Pigeon, kind of opens up that area so much. Now we're going to stick a ball in that area and really get it feeling good. So if you are flexible, then this area will open up much more freely. And so because of that, you may want something more like a lacrosse ball or a softball, or like I was saying earlier, the edge of a countertop is great. If you're new to all of this work, then a basketball might be more your speed, or I did say I was going to show some stuff with the foam roller. Foam rollers are great for this. We're just going to lay here on the side. And again, it's just going to be up to your own personal needs with this. I need more depth, so foam roller just doesn't quite get it, but I can get deeper in there if I do a position a little more like this. I was in my art studio earlier and stepped on some charcoal, so the bottoms of my feet look dirty. I got really dressed up for this video, you guys. Okay, so again, we're just very slowly rolling. We're not doing any fast movements. We're going to find a really good spot, and then we're just going to breathe there. So I've found a couple spots with the roller, but I'm not really excited about it for myself, so I'm going to go in with the softball, which you may... Okay. We're going in with the softball, which you may or may not be able to see on me. I think we're doing okay. Let me angle a little bit down. Okay. Okay. So the area that I'm at is, so again, we have that bony prominence right here, which is the greater trochanter. That's going to feel like a bruise. There's really never a time you're going to need to just lay on this area right here. We're looking for more of the soft areas. So we've got the ridge of our pelvis. It's kind of like a bowl in here, and the back side of it. So if you do yoga, you're familiar with the sits bones. So we're just going to go anywhere that's soft, basically, okay? And in that pocket is piriformis, so it's like you will know if you're on piriformis because it will feel like, woo! Now, in this case, you really may get some referral down into your foot, which is that classic sciatic stuff. So, I don't know, guys. I found it right away. I can just hang out here. If you need to roll for a minute, just to find it, find that spot that just feels like it could take your breath away, and then breathe. Okay. And we're watching our shoulders. So we're not like this, which I just was, because I'm trying to stay in the frame. So we're just going to breathe here. So we're about, I'm pretty much, ooh, I just got a nice release in my glute. I am in that piriformis area, and I'm also pressed up against glute medius. There's some really great charts online if you need a visual for these things. And then when that goes away, because I just had that big release, I felt a big thump in my glute. So naturally, it's going to not feel as intense after that. So then what I just do is sort of go like, all right, where else is there a little rascal in there? There's so much back pain that comes from this stuff, you guys, and it's so good to release this. So again, you just got to go in deeper. My dog's about to bark. Oh, Ruben. Okay. That feels so good. Okay, we're going to switch sides now. So again, if lying on your side is not your jam, you can also just go in like this, if that's a little more comfortable for you. Okay. And then you can, but again, make sure that you're not slouching into those shoulders. I really like having that support of my elbow. Core is nice and tight. Oh, we're gonna breathe there. And then remember, if you get any releases or, you know, a release does not have to feel like some epic big thump or twitch. It can just be as simple as like, it doesn't hurt as bad as it did when I first went in there. And if that's the case, then you can find a way to go in deeper with proper body mechanics, or you can move to maybe like a neighboring muscle or a neighboring little fiber in there, which is what I like to do too. And then always very slowly come out of these things, especially if you're in there with something really intense like a softball or a lacrosse ball, because that's just super deep in there. And you want to just ease out of it so that you don't shock the body. So a couple things to note. The breath, as I said, is very important. You're letting your body know that you're safe. And then also checking in with what you're doing. So if you are in those glutes, it's so easy to like really slowly tighten them up, and they'll kind of creep until the next thing you know, you're like really squeezing your butt together. If you're doing that, then you just might be in there a little too deep, and that's okay. Just come out a little bit, give yourself a little more support with the arms, or, you know, kick a leg in there just to add a little bit of leverage. So, you know, maybe you can't lay on the ball like this, so instead you support yourself a little bit more, and it will release pretty fast. So if you are really clenching those cheeks together, then explore that and just find out why, because maybe you're just in there a little too deep. So thank you guys for watching. I hope that you find relief with this. I hope everybody is staying healthy And, you know, mentally and physically taking care of ourselves is so important. So myofascial release is amazing for the body. When we are, you know, in proper alignment, everything works better. Our hormonal balance is better. Our immune system functions way better than if everything's all kinked up, then things just don't flow. So we got to get that flow going. And I think this is a really great way to do it. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to email me or follow me on Instagram, Ray, MERERE. And my name is Meredith Mason. It has been so nice foam rolling, myofascial releasing, basketball rolling, softball rolling with you guys. And I hope that this finds you well. Thanks. Bye.